Welcome back to Astromantics. Mary and I were just like talking about that. In
About it, the Latin origin of
yeah,
the name and how it
this,
astromantics,
yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Um,
Study,
how old it sounds, right? And then Lacey was saying it is Latin.
yeah. Or it's my version of Latin, right? Astrology, romance, astromantics, the study of those blends.
Would you say though? Yeah, astromancy.
I know. I'm like, oh damn, we should rename the show Astromancy. This the
That's why the accent is here because that's the topic we were on.
Yes. I also we've been watching old vampire movies and we started with the oldest and we're making it through to like the newest. So in cinema, the
Right.
history, and we watched Dracula, the original as a 1928 one, um the other night.
That's so funny. You know what I watched?
What?
I just finished.
What?
I watched all of Buffy the Vampire Slayer,
Oh yeah.
beginning to end, all of it.
Oh my
Why
god.
are we watching vampires? Just because it's October?
It's October, and that's kind of lighthearted too. I I I don't love like horror, right? Like,
Yeah, no.
bleh.
I don't like gore.
No, I don't like
Yeah.
gore. That's what it is. I don't like gore. I love though thrillers and mysteries, right? Like,
Right.
did you see that? What was that? You know,
Yeah.
why? I love those
Yeah, I
things.
like The Shining, right? It's like psychological terror,
The
not
Shining,
gore.
you have to be ready for it because The Shining is a long ass movie, right? I like knowing the little behind the scenes stuff, right? Like Shelley, what's her name? The one who played the main character, she played the wife, something
Yeah.
Shelley Duvall, and how fucked up she felt about it because they didn't tell her things. So when she's having reactions, she's having reactions. She is not acting in some of those scenes. She is reacting in those scenes because they wanted.
That's horrible,
That's
right?
fucked up.
We're watching her psychological
A
living
real
thriller.
shut
You
up. Your
know,
Scorpio fucking loves that. You know, to some degree, it loves the, oh my God, I know this now.
maybe that's why I liked it, was because it was like a
Yes.
real scream. It,
Yes.
I don't know.
Real terror, right? You're
Yeah, like
sensing the
that's
real, right?
no, what I remember from watching The Shining is waiting for gore to happen.
Yeah.
Nobody told me that it was all psychological, and I watched it as an adult. I never watched it as like a teenager or anything. Like I didn't know what this was about. So I watched it. It was literally like kind of covering my eyes. Like when is like
I use a
what
fan. Mhm.
like
Yeah.
so like something is gonna there's gonna be some fucking blood and gore here any minute. Somebody's going crazy because that music makes you think, you know.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the music's so powerful. But
Droning, like getting louder, and I can't shake it. It's very Pluto in nature. It's Plutonian in nature,
yeah,
right? Because Pluto is brings a crisis and it shakes, and you so there's no respite from Pluto, right? Wherever it's at, it is constantly shaking.
first house.
Yay! But at least it's in a house that I think it loves to be in, though, right? Scorpio, where it's like
Oh
all
yeah, yeah.
it can handle
Homey,
it because it's
homey.
water. I mean, if you're floating in water and it's shaking a little bit, like maybe less noticeable. If you're on Earth and it's like shaking, then it's like, oh,
Right. Yeah.
fucking
Like
earthquake.
when there's a tsunami coming, you head to the water, right? Because it's like, ooh,
Yes. Mine's in an
versus,
air sign, Libra, right? So that's the kind of the fastest one yet, but it still extremifies. Still does.
right?
Yeah. Okay. Speaking of Pluto and Scorpio, you know we all love her, Miss Taylor Swift. Oh, I don't have a picture of her. I'll pull up a picture in case people live under a rock, I like to say, right?
I have a picture of both of them on our Facebook.
Okay, so if
It's
you've
a,
looked on our Facebook, then you know
you
who
could
the
share the
fuck
screen
she
and pull it
is.
up on there.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, I just have it on. I just pulled up her thing.
oh,
Oh, look,
boom, there
there's the
she is.
guy.
That's him.
Yeah, there's the guy. Okay, so what happened with him? I know. Oh my God, there's another one. Look, people. Look, there's already people are already looking at their astrology, their synesthesia,
Yes, yes.
looking at a picture with a wheel in between it. How funny.
We're, for whatever reason, obsessed with these two right now.
I mean, for me, I just heard about it from you because we all know I don't do celebrity stuff, right? Not really. I do it just to look at their charts and everybody else can check
I
up
do.
on it. But you do. And I
I
realize
love it.
it's a way to connect everyone, though. It's a way, and
Right?
my detachment does not serve me. It's harder to connect, right?
But it's not hard for you to just see a chart and talk about it, which is what's
My
interesting about the
favorite
combo,
fucking
right?
thing. Yes. So
So
this is
actually, I don't know much about him. I know him, I think, and his brother have a podcast.
oh, okay.
I know that he just opened up about their relationship for the first time on the podcast because when she went to a game of his, and it was
Uh-huh.
obviously really public,
Yeah.
she was there watching the game with his mom. And
Oh.
I think
Okay.
that's why everybody's are like all eyes on them, right? They're like, this is cute,
Well, I
right?
mean,
Like,
he is hot. There is a hotness match going on. You know what I mean? Like,
right. It
yeah.
feels like she's had a string of like not great dudes. And so
So
I
here's
hope
the
this
thing.
is good.
Will this fuck with her happiness? Because her songs are all about like breaking up, her
Right.
obsession, right?
Well, I liked that like anti-hero was a lot about like the
Yeah,
different versions of yourself and coming
right.
to peace with like, and I feel like that's a little bit astrological. Like there's
Very.
layers of who you are as a person, and there's a way for all of them to get along. Right.
I'm very Aquarius, which in ancient astrology is called haters of family, right? That is the label that Aquarius got because we're detached, right? There's a detachedness. So when she's all, it's me, hi,
Hi.
I'm the problem, it's
Problem,
me.
it's me.
Yeah, right. I'm like, oh yeah, every Aquarius ever.
Right. Hey. Um,
I know I'm the problem, but also I'm I'm friendship. I'm friendly, but I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to be inauthentic, right? Yeah.
which I think there's that in her music. I think there's that relatability, right? There's that transparency.
Yeah. So the
Um,
rawness. So in her chart, right? This is not hers. This is his chart. I just now have to like do that. Okay. Oh, you know what? I always think of her as not being a Sag. I didn't realize she was a Sag. So look at this, Mary. She's got Mars, AC, Pluto. You've got Venus, AC, Pluto in your.
interesting. I think of her as like a poet. You know what I mean? I mean, I think she expresses human feelings in ways that we can all like relate to.
Yeah.
And in a beautiful, like, you know, Libra-y way is what I was thinking because I for some reason thought she was a Libra rising, but she's Scorpio rising, huh?
I know, right? I thought she was a Libra
I
rising.
haven't seen her chart before, surprisingly enough. I love Taylor Swift. I haven't seen her chart.
I think I've even seen her chart. I may have even talked about her chart at one point in time. So this is in our public charts in Luna. It's already in there in our software, which is really great. That means that it's a good rating because they don't put it in Luna unless they sure, right? Oh,
Right.
it's a double D rating, which is conflicting or unverified. Maybe I need to. I don't know. Should we
Oh my
like?
God, we almost have the same birthday.
Yeah, right. Yours is the
And we're
12th.
born a year apart. That's
Yeah.
interesting. And then we have opposite. If this is her birth time, I
Yeah,
wonder.
let me double check just for my Virgo sensibilities. Birth chart of Taylor. Okay. This will tell us. I'm going to look astro theme, astro charts. I always look for Astro Dias just because it's my favorite one. Here we go.
Me too.
And then it usually gives me the Rodden rating. Oh, look. So Rodden rating X, which is, oh, this is without time. So they don't have it. So maybe we don't have her full on, full on, full on. Right.
Right.
But Reading.
So, because I always thought of her as a Libra rising. I don't know when I got that in my head, but
Sadness. Let's see what
yeah,
the other one
something.
says.
But yeah, so I think Well, as with all celebrities, we have to take the
Right.
time of birth with a grain of salt, unless like you hear it from them directly, which is not always the case, right? It's hard to
Right.
like verify
This
this
one has
stuff.
5:17 a.m. Oh, it's birth time accuracy poor. Damn it. So we can't do a first house.
So we probably don't know that should, yeah, this is
Right.
a speculated Scorpio rising.
Right.
That doesn't change a Scorpio Mars or Scorpio Pluto.
No, it just would change the first house. So Scorpio rising tends to like to be hidden. They don't want to be seen, but a Mars Pluto would be like an extreme
Right?
ambitious, right? And then a Leo 10th house of my surroundings are on a stage, right? Anyway, just
I
my
mean, a Sag Sun, right? That is
yeah.
jovial, fun,
Yes.
lighthearted,
Festivals, philosophical.
festivals,
It's philosophical, right? It loves to learn and teach, right?
culturally aware.
Yes. And she is in her songs, she is teaching about what she has learned in relationships, right?
Yes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a fair amount of Capricorn here. That makes sense too, right? Climbing, literally climbing. She has
Um,
12 Grammys. Is that right?
I don't know. That's interesting. She is neurodivergent, though, right? The Uranus,
Oh,
Neptune, Saturn, and Mercury definitely gives us a neurodivergent type person, right?
yeah. We have this as a shared
Mm-hmm.
generation.
So
Um,
does Travis. Travis has it too. See, he's got it too. Neptune, Saturn, Uranus, all conjunct in Cap.
yep,
Oh,
yep.
he's got a Sag moon, and she's got a Sag sun. That's a
Ah,
moon sun.
I love it because Sagittarius needs either other Sag or Gemini, right, in
Yes.
some way because there's such a need for freedom still, or the idea of freedom, right? So it's
Yes.
like certain signs that get really jealous or really like pin you down or really like,
Right.
you know, too much, then that would scare away a Gemini or a Sag. To have that sun moon is really nice, right? Because you can see
Yep.
it's effortless to give you what the other person needs, right? Because it's like,
Right.
I need that too. Cool.
It
Right.
also means they would both like to travel, right? So something about traveling, you both
Right.
need that capacity. It also means that you both feel like so his body, right? Moon and Sagittarius, that's like a teaching with the body in a way, right? Because the moon represents your inner world and your physical body in ancient times, right? It's kind of that combo. It's your gut reaction, which you're kind of doing when you're playing sports. There's gut reaction there. And then hers is more of an awareness, right? Cultural awareness. He's emotionally, culturally aware. They definitely both, I bet, can do impressions of people. And I bet
They make each other laugh, I bet.
yes,
Right. Like,
he definitely does. He's got a Jupiter. The Jupiter, which rules it, is in Cancer, right? That's exalted Jupiter. That's awesome.
and then a Libra sun and a Libra
Yeah.
Mars, right? So ultimately, a really peaceful, passive person. This is somebody who, when they get angry, isn't necessarily
Yeah, that's right.
slamming shit. This is somebody who's maybe feeling hurt
Yes.
or the desire to harmonize, right?
Right.
Like
Right.
maybe even sweep things under the rug and laugh at it more so than be conflict oriented, right?
Right.
Because of that Libra is like,
Mm-hmm.
I just want everybody to be happy.
My motivation, right? My motivation is harmony, right? My
Yeah.
motivation is, does everyone agree? Right? My motivation is it beautiful? Is it
Yeah.
pretty? Right. He is sexually motivated by her prettiness for
I
sure.
mean, I can't
Also,
wait
they
to
have
see these together too,
think
right?
of
I can't
this.
wait to like,
He has a Venus Scorpio conjunction, also same as you, Mary, in Scorpio, right? Venus Pluto in Scorpio. And she has a Mars in Scorpio. That is a Venus
yep.
Mars conjunction. That is a hard conjunction. It's one where she can overpower and control him. She could.
Well, he might like that as a Libra sun and a Libra
I was
Mars.
thinking that too. Sex would be off the charts fantastic.
With the Scorpio stuff, yeah.
If
Um, I
if
also think that he probably just appreciates the depth, right? The poetry of the music, right? Like
yeah.
the realness.
Yeah.
He's not singing like superficial bullshit to just
Yeah.
sell the music, right? Like this is her heart and soul.
Yeah.
Scorpio would appreciate that.
Yes. And the Libra loves music videos, right? Libra loves music videos and music and the
So
beauty in
he
it.
might have been in love with her before he ever met her, just from music videos.
I do wonder that. I do wonder that. And then she's philosophical as fuck, so he would feel like he was learning something from her.
And then two Sages in a room, Sag Moon and a Sag Sun, and they're just vibing. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Life is fun. Let's
He's
laugh.
definitely got sex toys. I'll tell you that right the fuck now. But he won't, or he should get them. If he doesn't have them, he should get them. Um, and then let her control what happens though, because her Mars and Scorpio would definitely want to control.
Which is probably ideal because
He's got to be a
Scorpio's
writer.
fixed.
Is he a writer? He's got a Virgo Mercury.
No, but I imagine that he's probably like good with words, good with details, right? And
Yeah.
obviously she is too. So that seems very compatible.
I wonder if they'll
Somebody who would
together. Mm-hmm.
probably be able to communicate in a
Mm-hmm.
relationship, right? Because you got that Virgo to like to detail and refine,
Right.
right? To put words to
Yeah.
the thoughts. And so that might be, it seems like her music is always kind of referring to where things go wrong in a relationship. And I think she jokes about it, right? But I
Yeah.
think reading between the lines,
Yes.
things like people like not opening up or,
Yeah.
right? Like there's a lot of like, you fall in love with the idea of people or the sparkle or like the,
Right.
the lust of it, but like,
Yeah.
yeah, anyway, so you read between the lines and like maybe she just hasn't found that right person, right? And like
Right. There's some pretty
a
good conjunctions
Virgo
here. Let's,
Mercury though can actually say what
yeah,
they're feeling or what's going
or
on
write
or
it.
how, yeah,
Yeah. Have the right
they
thing to
just have
say.
access to words, that's just
Yeah. Yeah.
nice.
I bet he always has the right words to say, right? Clear direction. Mars, but clear direction on what everyone agrees on. Like
Yeah.
he himself won't have the play, but he would have he could carry out the play. If he had a playbook
Well,
or something like that.
football is
Yeah.
that, right? It's collaboration, it's a team effort.
Right.
Um,
Right.
it could, it's kind of that cardinal cut a bitch family, right? So you're protective of your team, right? And that would probably
Yes.
motivate you to do a better job.
Right.
But you're not working alone, which would be so critical
Right. Yes.
for Libra.
Yeah. Yeah. Libra, especially Libra Mars, working alone is not my happy place. I would feel
No.
like I don't know what to do, maybe even,
I think so. You see a lot of athletes retire and then don't know
yeah.
what to do with themselves, right? So they've tried to become entrepreneurs. And I
Right.
think sometimes that's in an effort to collaborate, like missing the team,
Right.
right? And so like we all have Libra in our chart, whether there's something there or not. Right. Like
His Venus Pluto. Okay, so tell me about this. He's got that Venus Pluto there, right?
mhm.
So in romance and what he attracts deeper, crunchier people who are probably obsessed with him. Is there a fan base for him alone, like that people are obsessed with him?
I mean, I think that's for most athletes, there's always kind of like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, I don't think there's any shortage of people chasing them
Yeah.
or like,
So how do you think he feels? What about, oh, bless you. How do you think he feels about Taylor? Because you have a Venus Pluto, right? And he
I
has,
do, yeah.
right?
I have Venus rising, Venus and Pluto. And so
Right.
my first house is very, very Plutonian, right? Very Scorpio.
Right.
Um, I I mean, obviously there's like an aesthetic, right?
Mhm.
There's like a love for occulty, darker,
Gothic romance.
gothic, right? But also kind of like death and rebirth,
Mhm.
right? Like there's I don't know, right? Um,
Do
I
you?
often say
Yeah.
Scorpio holds a lot of the dark for the
Yeah.
zodiac,
Right.
right? So I think in whatever way feels good to each individual to Scorpio type,
Hmm.
leaning into that dark to
Right.
some extent. That dark encompasses a lot of things, right? So,
Yeah.
like, what darkness calls to one Scorpio might not call to another one, right? What we know
Yeah.
is that Scorpio is somehow involved with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So, right? So, you would have to be you would have to be willing to see that, right? You have to be willing for your Venus,
Yeah.
right? That has to be an accepted part of who you are.
Yeah.
So he might not even fully accept that, right? Because of the Libra. And the Libra is like, let's make
Right.
that beautiful, right? And then somebody like Taylor Swift with a Mars there,
Hmm.
who lives in that Scorpio place of truthfulness and raw, real, right?
Right. I just wait for
Um,
the right moment and then I say it. Yeah.
might encourage growth in that way, right? Might encourage we we all need to encourage Scorpios to go deeper and
Yeah.
darker and push themselves in that way,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, I
I think
agree. I feel like sometimes when I'll tell Scorpios, like, are you deeply sexual? They'll be like, no. Like there is a deer in the headlights, almost where I'm like, I'm pretty sure you are, right? Like,
but will they say it, right? Do they want to share that information?
yeah.
Um,
Or I'll be like, oh, ooh, it rolls this. And then some Scorpios, it's like if they haven't had experience with it, there's a fear around it. But if they've had experience with it, then it's less of a fear.
I feel like with Scorpio, whatever they're willing to tell you is probably the very tip of the iceberg, right?
Yes.
There's probably so much underneath it. So if somebody says no,
Right.
right? There's
Uh-huh.
probably a lot that you're not seeing, right? Their mind's like, oh my God, I couldn't possibly tell them all the dark shit I like.
Yeah.
I couldn't possibly, right? So if they throw you a bone, there's like a whole iceberg under there. But
Yeah.
like, um, I mean, every Scorpio is different. I think depending on like where the sun is and the moon,
Yeah.
like what's shining on it, right? What's
Right.
exposing it. Um, is
Right.
it well aspected,
Yeah.
right? Like it's
The day chart.
is there a Saturn in there making you feel like you could have done that
Right.
better? Or like um
Yeah.
I kind of feel lucky that my first house is my rising, right? Body.
Mhm.
Pluto, which is intense, but then Venus, that softens
Yeah.
it. So it makes it easy for me to feel like I can lean into it and love the things that I like. And
It's true.
and it doesn't mean it was easy my whole life, right?
No.
I think I repressed hugely
Hmm.
this like magical part, right? I remember as a kid buying like the little tarot pocket ones like in secret. I remember feeling so like sneaky because I knew my dad would be so mad if they were in the house, right? And I was like,
Yes.
loved knowing I had this little pocket one. And I bought it with my own money at Barnes and Noble when I went there with somebody else. So he
Wow.
didn't even know. And I was like hella sneaky about it too. Cause I don't even think the people knew who I was
So you
with.
had
I
heard
didn't want
about
them to
tarot
tell
then.
them.
You had heard about tarot. I was fascinated with the occult when I was a kid too, right?
Well,
I was
my
fascinated with magic
grandma,
and spells and stuff. Yeah, your grandma was a
yeah,
did astrology
she
also.
had stacks of tarot decks everywhere as a kid too. And then, but I was really young, right? But I grew up seeing my aunt kind of carry that on, right?
Right.
So dusty, musky piles of
Yeah.
tarot cards, but being told that like that's bad, you can't do that. So I was
Yeah.
always curious. There's always this big, beautiful question mark. Like, what is that?
I think there is something beautiful. Like when I think of that dark Scorpio beautiful thing, I think of like, so in back in the day, right? And we can cover this in our myth thing eventually, but they used to um if you gave your blood or your pubic hair or your hair to someone, then you could do things, you could bind them to you, right? Or you could do good things like or evil things, right? I
Right.
could voodoo doll it up, right? Which would be hoodoo for me because I don't practice voodoo, so it's a hoodoo thing for me in a way. But you can do that, or you can use their stuff to be like, may you be the most blessed person ever, right? Like you can't
Right.
put that same intention, which my mind goes to automatically for like, oh, may you have the most beautiful life, right? But that's a Scorpio vibe, I feel, right? Like this deep, intense, yeah, I'll use blood. Yeah. Not like
Yeah.
slicing it, I don't like slicing it, but I will like use
Right.
I don't
Yeah, I'm
care.
pretty squeamish around like blood and gore, actually.
You
And
are?
that's yeah, I think everybody thinks that because I'm a Scorpio rising that I like horror movies or
I
something. And it's like
know.
I
That's the
like B
association.
horror movies, you know what I mean? I like funny, like
Yeah.
this isn't really horror movies. Like
Right.
when was it Jason went to space or something like that? Like,
Yeah.
you know what
Something
I mean? Like
ridiculous.
that's fine. I think that's
Yeah.
funny, but yeah, I'm not gonna watch like Saw 16 and
What?
you know,
Your
like
Scorpio
that's
doesn't
just
love that shit?
I know, right? It should, but it doesn't. No, actually,
Extreme love?
my
Extreme.
Venus is like, it's a little much.
Yeah, I think, and I think what you said then it becomes very relevant when you were saying that every Scorpio is different in that way, right?
Yeah, right. I think sometimes there's like just a stereotype as like this goth girl or something, and like I don't
Yeah.
think it's that. I think it's just however we choose to lean in,
Right.
right? Vera, my daughter has a second house, Scorpio,
Yeah.
right? And so that's her house of resources, Scorpio. And I used to think,
She
I
digs.
don't,
She'll ask questions.
yes,
Yeah.
she'll investigate, right? And so I remember when our cat Hunter died,
Yeah.
Hunty, she still
Yeah.
talks about it, but she's very matter of fact.
Yeah.
He got ran over.
Yeah.
And
Right.
he's on the moon now. That's what she
Yeah.
believes.
Yeah. That's
And
so,
I know. So when we see full moon, they're like, "Hey, Auntie."
oh,
Um,
that's so precious.
but I thought this was going to crush her, right? Like she's this really sensitive,
Yeah. Libra Eve.
kind,
Right.
right, harmonious human. I was not expecting her to be like, "Ooh, tell me more."
Yeah.
And I see a picture. She drew pictures of a cat being dead in the street for like 2 weeks afterwards. Like she was just processing it. And she was like, "So this is what
Wow.
happened." Right.
Interesting.
And
Interesting.
she's very literal. So she doesn't quite understand that that could hurt somebody's feelings. Right.
Right.
Like, I understood that she was needing the facts. Right.
Right.
But my sister, who's still so emotional over this thing, cannot see a picture
No.
of a kid's version of a dead cat in the street. Right. So
Yeah.
it's the second house Scorpio actually needs to be tended to kind of young,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Right.
I'll give her more information about like when people die and what
Right.
happened than I would have thought was okay if I
Right.
hadn't kind of
Right.
studied her chart. Right.
Yes.
Like she is curious. She wants to know. And then
She can
same
handle,
goes with
and she wants to know the truth. Double Sag, right? Sun, moon. I want to know the truth. Do not lie to me.
fun fact, she has been obsessed with sex toys since she was tiny. She
Like
can
just getting
sniff them
them.
out of
Yeah.
any house, right? So she's like visiting somewhere, and I swear to God, she'll find somebody's sex toys,
Oh my God.
no problem. And she's like,
Amazing.
"What's this?" Right? And like,
I love
I
it.
cannot tell you how many people she's mortified because she's
Oh,
just
I
like,
love it. Please come mortify me. I will to the best of my, she would love my bag. My bag has gloves, right? It's got like
"Oh
velvet
yeah,
gloves and satin
yes,
gloves, and
she
it's got
would,
these like,
yeah."
got like a bunch of props.
Oh yeah, she'd be like, "I need to dress up to be this character."
That is an anal plug in a size small, that one. I'm just
Oh my
kidding.
God.
Maybe don't have her come
So
over.
she's a double Sagittarius, the truth,
When
right?
she's
With a
older, though,
Scorpio
Nancy
second house.
Lacey and her are gonna have some conversation.
She has a double Sag,
Mhm.
right? Sun and moon, 7 degrees, right?
Yeah,
Sagittarius, exact. New
yeah,
moon, baby.
yeah.
Right. And then she's got a Sag there, and it's in her third house of communication. So there's not another human in the world that wants the truth more than this
More.
girl,
Yeah,
right? Like she is
right.
like, um,
And
And then
Scorpio
deeper.
about it. Yeah. Unless I see tears, blood, right? Unless I see a wall, right? If
Yeah.
I don't see that wall, there's more. But that's why she's one of my favorite people, because I can just like try to shock her. My Aquarius wants to shock, and her Mars in Aquarius is like, oh, that's not shocking.
No. Right. No. You guys just dare each other, though. You know what I mean?
Dude, yeah, her Aries 7th is I just fit my moon. I mother that shit in a way
Yeah.
too, right?
You guys in so many ways are just puzzle pieces.
Oh, it's totally
Yeah.
real. But then I'll be like, oh no, ma'am, there's power struggles too.
Power
Right?
struggles, but honesty, right?
Yeah,
So your
very
double
bad.
Aries does
Mhm.
not shy away from conflict, which is
Yeah,
great for her because she's so literal,
I love
right?
it.
She's not even aware it's a conflict usually,
Me
right?
neither.
She's just literal,
Same.
right? So
Hmm.
you guys, you're not offending her most of the time. It may
No,
even sound harsh, but she's like, Auntie Lacey is giving it to me straight,
she is.
right? And
I
like,
think she'll grow in appreciation even more over
yeah,
time. Oh,
yeah, I think she appreciates it a lot already, right?
yeah, I
She's
think so
already
too.
like, why
I
can't
think
everybody be like that?
yes. Oh my God, I love her. Okay, back to Taylor Swift, who,
We
speaking
went down
of
a
little mess,
Scorpio rabbit hole, which I think is relevant for
yes.
Scorpio, Mars, Venus.
And Vera
Both have
loves Taylor Swift.
Pluto.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we've been swifting it up around here lately.
Swifting it up. All right, let's do a. Okay, actually, yeah, I haven't shared my screen yet, right? You're not seeing this, right? All right, let's
Well, we
put
were, and
this.
then we stopped share, and now
Yeah, I always want to do that if I'm gonna like instead of
if we're
keeping it
just gonna
on
chat,
that
yeah,
one screen the whole fucking time. Okay, let's look at their composite. What do you say?
yeah.
Let's do a little Scorpio
Shall
right
we?
now.
Yeah, let's.
A little
My
sleuth.
first house lives for this sleuthing, you know.
Oh, 26 Venus degrees. So he has a 26-degree Venus Scorpio, and she's a 26-degree Mars Scorpio. That is a
Exact.
conjunction. That is, you can't get any tighter other than the minutes being the same. That's in,
Damn.
right?
And then
Or no.
those, and then they're born the same year, right? So Pluto
Is about
was it the same year?
13. No, they're 1 year apart, right?
89,
89.
89.
Oh, I guess they are 89,
So
right?
they're 2 months apart ish.
Yep.
And
It moved
so
them. Wait,
Pluto's pretty
Pluto was
close.
zooming, but Pluto was zooming. Normally, Pluto stays like 1 degree, but I guess it's only 3. But they're of the generation that likes murder mysteries, right? That likes true crime podcasts, right? They probably
Yeah.
love that. I bet they could probably drive around and listen to that shit,
Yeah. Well,
right?
yeah. Yeah. There's a I saw a meme that was like, I turn off the news and turn on a serial killer documentary to relax.
Yes, that is how Pluto and Scorpio relax.
Yeah. There's a little bit of that for sure, right? Like
In extreme investigation, neither one of these people will be able to cheat on each other unless they agree to it, because they're going to be looking for truth. That Sagittarius and that Scorpio definitely wants to know where that has been.
true.
Right? There is definitely going to be a little bit of your mindness.
Mhm. Um, I like that they're born pretty close together because it like you and Jeff
Yeah.
lines up a lot of the outer planets together, right? So like, but also things like North Node, right? They both have North Node
Aquarius, right?
in
Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
then a South Node in Leo, which is interesting, right?
Mhm.
They both have some sort of past lives in being in the spotlight, right? There's some sort of wisdom, and then
Being a
in
leader, right?
in this life, right, it's more about taking a look at the bigger picture and
Right.
not about themselves. And so they are famous,
Yeah.
but they seem down to earth famous, which is not always the category you could put people in. I think maybe that's Aquarius North
Yeah.
Node would be a humanitarian, right? They're
Right.
probably more
And a desire to be unconventional in some way. So perhaps they'll
but
have.
he has a lot more in Aquarius. He's Aquarius Venus.
No, this is her. Yeah, hers is on the inside. He's on the outside.
Oh, yeah, you're
So
right.
she has the Aquarius Venus. This means that she prizes friendship first. This could be why it took them so
Oh my
long.
God, the whole like switchy squad things, like where they like, oh, she brought like, was it the Deadpool 3 cast basically to the last football game? Hugh Jackman was there, Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively. So Deadpool,
Yeah.
right? And then Wolverine.
Right. Right.
And, I was like fangirling a little myself that there's just this fucking group of celebrities casually going to see a football game together,
Right. And
like
devotion. So she's got Vesta
devoted to
conjuncturinis
friends.
ish. Yeah. Devoted and fans fanatically in love with
Oh my
her
God.
humanity, right? How she is unconventional, how she is me. Hi, I'm Aquarius, it's me, right?
Yeah.
That's why we all go, yes, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's got a cap Mercury.
Yep. A Cap Mercury, which trines his Mercury in Virgo by a wide trine, though, right? Because his is 20
Right.
Virgo, hers is
But
8.
they have earthy ass communication. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's good. That's actually probably a little judgy, but
Yeah.
together,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Um,
Because earthy can be a little judgy, but like high
yes.
standards, right? There's
Right.
a way to do it that's not
Mm-hmm.
like rude.
Right. Yeah, when I see Uranus here, it's I don't like labels, right? Labels on my music. Oh, she does country and like she started out with country, right?
Yep.
She
They're
started out
called the
with it
cowboy
and then
music.
pop. Yeah, yeah. How Uranus Mercury conjoined is that, right? Like fuck your labels. I'll make
Right.
I'll say what I want to say in a way.
Right. And like I think she kind of changes up the type of music often. Right.
Right.
And I think that's kind of cool. Right.
And
It's
she has
always a bop, but it's sometimes, yeah, more country, sometimes more,
yeah.
you know. And it's always inclusive. You know what I mean? Like she
Yes,
always is like,
Saturn's. She has Saturn, which is like long term, has an eye, a heart, a naturalness with long term, works it well.
right.
Maturity. Saturn is super mature in Capricorn too, right? You have amazing maturity, Mary, and you have a Saturn in Cap, same, right?
Yeah, our generation, I feel like this generation is interesting with the Neptune, Uranus,
Yeah.
Saturn
Yep, that's
together.
right. Which
Like,
they both have. Mm-hmm.
what a weird fucking combo to put. You know what I mean? We've got unexpected lightning bolts from Uranus. We've got sleepy stone Neptune, and then we've got
Yeah.
like, what are you doing? Let's do more. Like, let's build, let's grow.
Mm-hmm.
Saturn
Yeah.
is kind of future minded
Yeah.
next to
Hierarchy,
these,
ladder, goal,
right? Next
right?
to this complete rebel and
Complete rebel.
complete
Fuck you.
stoner,
Fuck your ladder.
right?
What if your ladder's upside down, bitch?
Yeah,
Right.
so I feel like this is kind of the generation of like, but why? Like, so
Well, yes, exactly.
why do we have to work 9 to 5? Like, why do we have to hate our life to make a living? Why do we
Mm-hmm.
have to own a house? That's stressful and
Yeah.
expensive. But
Right.
why? Like,
But why? Do you really
like,
need that to live?
right. I want to live in a van on my computer and travel,
Yes.
like, and you have this older generations who are not mixing in Uranus adapted and right into their Saturn's generation or
Right.
whatever, and think that that is the most, weirdest, unpredictable, unsafe, like
Right.
non-ambition, right? When it's actually very ambitious. It's kind of the height of ambition
Right.
is, being able to have freedom to do what you want the way
Right.
you want to do it, right? In
Right.
unexpected ways.
Yeah. Oh, I
In
can't make
dreams.
money doing that. How come that dude made up this startup and has billions of dollars, but
Yeah,
you're
because
telling me I have to
Capricorn's
work at a
like,
factory? Yeah.
if you think about like that quote about like entrepreneurs are the only people who will work 60 hours a week to avoid a 9 to 5 job or something like that, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's Capricorn, right? That's a
Yeah.
Capricorn influence. So like to be
Very.
an entrepreneur, there's a little bit of that element. You have to maybe enjoy the climb, right?
Yep.
Because you're going to be working for free probably for a while, right? As an entrepreneur, like you got to
Yeah.
build, and
Her
that's what
mind.
Cap does,
Yeah, I bet her mind never stops coming up with ideas. Great, because she's cardinal, right? It's all Cap.
right?
Mind thinks in future goals, right? Ahead of that.
Build, right? Like what's next kind of mentality instead of there's Capricorn's worst fear is complacency, right?
Yep.
To just be to plateau, to be stuck somewhere for too long,
Yeah.
right? Like, yeah,
Right.
this is pretty, but like, what's higher though? You
Yes.
know?
Totally. Um, I was looking at, they both have a Jupiter. They both have exalted Jupiters in Cancer. Taylor Swift's is retrograde and his is direct. Uh, he got a lot of luck up in his shit. But it's with a Chiron. So a part of me is like, would he buy multiple homes or would that feel like he's, I don't know, taking up too much? I don't know. Because they both have that Sag heavy, it made me wonder, are they going to have a bunch of homes abroad or will they travel in some like super cozy trailer?
Right.
Right. Or like,
Hmm. You know, that is a lot of Cancer that
that is
they,
so much. So I bet
and
they feel
then
psychically
that,
connected in a way. Yeah.
but that 1 degree moon could be something else, right? Because we don't have exact birth times
Right.
necessarily. So it's like,
It could be a
that's a
Gemini.
Gemini Cancer cusp moon, right? So
Right.
it's probably a mixed vibe anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But then to put those Jupiters next to each other,
You know what though? I bet
whoa,
it is in
right?
Cancer because it's 5:17 a.m. is the time we're given. So it's already early in the morning. This I mean, if she was born maybe at like 30 minutes after the hour, maybe like we'd have to like that's how we chart rectify, right?
Right.
But
Yeah, I would put in midnight, right? And then see what it is kind of,
yeah,
and then go from there and
yeah,
like,
totally.
but like roughly,
It could be conjunct that Siri, right? 29 degree.
it's definitely gonna be nearby it, right? It might even be closer to it if it's a 29-degree moon,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
right? But
Yeah.
but it's interesting because you put this Jupiter, which is like wealth and
Yeah. Extreme
um
wealth. Jupiter in Cancer, right? That could be depending upon what house it's in. If they have it in the second house, that is extreme wealth, right?
right.
If
But
they
then we
have
put
it, mhm, yeah,
but we put this mutual Chiron next to their,
right,
you know what I mean? So it's like massive wealth, massive pain,
yes,
you
right,
know, and like
mhm,
and a call for massive healing then, right? Like to balance out the massive amount of pain.
yeah,
So uh yeah, I think that's a blessing and a curse in a way, right? Like that is a, yeah, you're given with both hands, like
yeah,
uh
awesome and shit,
yeah,
but could be awesome if you can endure it,
right.
which
If
she's
you're
doing
somebody,
well, you
yeah,
know,
if you're somebody who embraces like personal growth and, you know, then I think it's karma's never something you have to like hate, right? As
mhm,
long as you're willing to heal, as long as you're willing to be in a little bit of pain,
right,
right? If you're somebody who if you're avoidant
right,
of that, right? That's where Chiron is going to be like, this could be a potentially hard thing in a relationship for two Cancer Chirons, right? That's home, that's mother wounds,
yeah,
right? So like that's potentially challenging
right,
unless you're the kind of person who's willing to look at your own wounds, right?
yeah.
Kind of person that's trying to grow
Yeah, it's wounds around
emotionally,
home, right? Too. Our wounds are around your home. Uh,
right?
I was thinking, let's look at their squares or whatever. His son, 11 degrees Libra, is square her Eros. That is attraction. That makes for massive sexual attraction. And oh, and Neptune. So she would be like mystical in some way to him, right? Glamour, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Neptune is a glamour.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Dreamy.
what? Dream.
Dreamy, like
So
girl of your dreams, kind
he
of,
would be like, "That's so hot," and then in time will also be very frustrating. Right? It's like, damn, it's so hot. But then it's like, but the nice thing here is because they're born so close together, he naturally in his own chart has a square to Saturn and Neptune. So he has already had to mitigate or deal with that.
right.
So, which I I see in synastry charts tends to make that square easier because it's already embodied somewhere. So there's an understanding. And then when the square comes up between you and somebody else, you're quicker to go, oh, this is that thing. You know, there's
I'm
already,
familiar with this.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. I've noticed.
Yep.
He's got a square, a sun square Jupiter and a Mars square Jupiter. That's hotness, right? When Jupiter is in opposition to Mars or in a square to Mars or a conjunction to Mars, it's usually you're a fucking hot person. Lucky you,
There
right?
it is. Right.
Lucky you, but comes with squares. Uncomfortableness about it.
Right. Right. You don't get to enjoy it. You
No.
have to work harder to
Yeah. You're
there's
just
some friction built in with it that you have to work through or be aware of.
yes.
Right.
You know, I've never thought about it. I have a Jupiter Mars conjunction. I've never thought about those two together in mine, but it makes sense.
Really?
Never.
Yes.
I've never thought about that.
We talk about a lot your Pisces Venus, right? But that's interesting too
I
to
know.
factor in.
Yeah, God, it's just so hard being so hot in a beret. If you're
Ugh,
wondering, so wearing a beret. Cute
it's
class.
just so hard to be so beautiful.
It's so hard being less hot.
Yeah, I feel so bad for you guys.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
So I was looking at that, and then the oppositions aren't too much, right? Oh my God. So he's got a sun. Oh no, it's opposite his Priapus. That's another like I've noticed. I've noticed in masculine charts because Priapus is something that women look at in men, and we're like, damn, I want to be filled by that, right? I want that to fill me the fuck up. But then,
That's literal.
yeah. But then, unfortunately, like Priapus doesn't do that exactly. He's got the promise of fruitfulness, but can't actually ejaculate in the myths. We'll talk about that on our myths podcast.
I was gonna say the crossover between our two podcasts is gonna be so lit,
Oh
right?
yeah.
So we're in the process of creating one called Magical Mythos.
Yeah.
And if you're a frequent listener of Astromanics, you've heard Lacey refer to a lot of like goddesses and historical figures, right?
The
and
lore
events.
Yeah.
Right. You are like an astrological historian. No shit, right? And so we thought let's take that knowledge over to its own podcast, right? But it's gonna have some, I mean, a hilarious crossover.
Priapus is a juicy one, and it's coupled with Lilith, but they could be their own episodes.
Yeah. Yeah. We're really excited because like Picatrix, the book that Lacey's been studying of astrology and magic, I think is going to be our first episode. And then I want to go straight into Lilith, right? I want to talk about Black Moon Lilith. I want to talk about Lilith's story. But this is all another rabbit hole, right?
I know. I just can't stop studying. I can't
wait to put all of that knowledge in one place because you have so much.
Yeah.
You're literally overflowing with knowledge of the coolest shit.
Thank you. Yes, pick my brain. I can study all fucking day. And I'm about to be in a 9th house Sag perfection year. So I'm gonna be in a fucking library.
In an educational mood, right?
Yes.
Which I think is great because there's so much overlap between history, mythology, astrology, right? Oh, yeah. All of these things go back so far and they have layers together.
God, it makes me hot. Maybe it is astronauts. God. Just so sexy. History. Yeah. I love it.
I feel like that's a shirt, right? Talk history to me or something.
Yeah, right. Sexy women love history.
Right, some glasses.
All right. So, okay, I'm looking at his sun. I was looking for squares. Yes, these are hot. Nice thing. A sun square Jupiter isn't the end of the world. And he's had to deal with it his whole life too. Yeah.
Overall, I think this is a very happy synastry, right? Like we don't have synastry is a lot more detailed if we have birth times, right? Yes. We can take a microscope to like what it's going to feel like for the other person to have this planet in that house, right? And so what does it feel like for the sun to be shining into this place of their life? And So we don't have that without birth times, right? But we do
Yeah.
see conjunctions and aspects. We can see how, his son is interacting with her situation and vice
Yes.
versa.
Like where it
So
lights up. Yeah.
based on this, right, it seems very compatible. And not just because they're born close together. I don't want there to be some like myth about if you're
Oh yeah.
born together, that's
No, that's not
compatibility,
real. In
right?
fact, we've done synastry charts where the two people will have the same eros, right? Even though they're born years and years apart,
Right.
right? So you'll see the same peaks, valleys, right? There's a
Right.
thing, you know. Uh,
And
it looks well matched, right? They both have Earth
yeah,
Mercuries, but there is a square from his Mercury to her sun. So that definitely would be something to look out for, right? That like sometimes the way that he communicates will irritate her truth desiring son. But his moon is in Sag, which helps tremendously to mitigate that.
right.
And her Mercury is in an earth sign, which helps tremendously to try
Yes.
with that. So it's like these things that normally I'd be all, ooh, that could hurt later. Right. I
Right.
see here I go, oh, but
There's so much understanding built in too. There's so much familiarness.
right.
Like they probably feel like a kinship of like, oh, naturally we're probably aligned in a lot of ways, right? But I also am curious to see how this like Scorpio plays out for privacy, right? So um she obviously writes about her relationships, but I think it's usually after the fact, you know what I mean? And so like
I wonder if that could be the Sun square Mercury too.
but I also think um a Mars in Scorpio, a Venus in Scorpio, both Plutos there could promote privacy, which could mean more longevity, right? With both being invested in some amount of separation
Yeah.
from their shit to be public.
Right.
Um, obviously they made it public by going to that game, right?
Mhm.
But I haven't listened to his podcast or the interview, but I heard that he basically said this, I'm not going to talk about it again, right?
Yeah.
We have to talk about it because you saw her come to my game, you saw her
Right.
hanging out with my mom, I have
Right.
a podcast with my brother, but we like our lives private and it's not going to be an ongoing topic,
Right.
right? And so I wonder if that's actually something that could really promote longevity in a relationship
Mm.
like this, right? With two famous people, um, well known,
Yeah.
big fan bases,
Mhm.
um, but then also have like all of that Cancer, right? The Cancer wounds, the Cancer fortune
Yeah.
with the Jupiter there, right?
Yeah.
Um,
An amazing Mercury, a
at
person.
home,
Yeah.
private, right?
Yeah. And then a Mars that doesn't care, just wants harmony. And then a Mars that totally cares. Right.
Right.
And then a Venus that totally cares with a Venus that's like, I don't care, detached. Right. Is
But
more like,
devoted to friends,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's true.
I wonder if her relationships get jealous of her friendships,
I wonder
right?
that. I was thinking that same thing.
But he's a Libra and would hopefully be able to bring balance,
Is motivated by
right?
partnership, right?
And I think a
Definitely
Sag moon isn't intimidated by a certain amount of freedom
no,
either, you
no.
know?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, if they can bake that in, I think the best challenge will be like, how real can you be with each other?
Right.
That'll be the maximum. I saw someone who I thought was really hot today. Like if you could confess, get,
Right.
oh my God, if they could be
Take
like,
me to church.
yes, if they could be like, if they could communicate to each other like in confessional boxes, so you're not like looking at each other, but you're confessing things and listening to each
Would you
other's.
love this? Would you love this as like some like role play thing, like all dressed up and like
I think they should do it immediately, right? Like, because that would be a way to confess, because Scorpio is really, really deep and it's the iceberg, right? That's what you were talking about earlier, right? If a
yeah,
Scorpio said anything to you, that's the tip of the iceberg. They will,
yeah,
given if they feel comfortable, will show you the rest of the iceberg, right?
right.
Um, so Kaylee has a sixth house. My daughter has a sixth house Scorpio. I have an eighth house Scorpio. I can talk about intense things pretty easily. I have Uranus there who goes, yeah, I don't give a fuck. Sure, I'll shock you, you know?
Yeah.
So when we would drive during COVID and express things that we thought would hurt each other or ways in which we wish we could control the other, it would be a confessional. So we'd be driving and then she would talk straight ahead and I would talk straight ahead. And then on the road, Sagittarius, right? Her Pluto Mars is on the road. We're traveling. So this is how we raise children with astrology, right? We go, oh, you need this.
What do they need? Right.
Yes. Right. So for these two, I think for his Venus in particular, doing some kind of confessional, and then like if she had ways to punish him, right? You definitely have to deal in power dynamics in some way here, right? But they don't have to be
her song, look what you made me do, right? Like you just picture like with a whip. Like,
yes, right. That's very Mars and Scorpio, right? I am in control, right? I like to be in control, especially sexually, right? Ambitious. Anyway,
I bet that's intimidating for like if somebody wasn't like, you know, if they have any sort of insecurities or masculinity and like scarcity and you know, providing and stuff like that, for her to be obviously wealthy and not in need of like right. I wonder if that's intimidating. That has to be intimidating for some men depending on their wounds, but maybe them sharing these wounds, these home wounds, privacy, roots, foundation, healing.
Do you think Scorpio likes to be needed?
Like
the heart likes to be needed?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's hard for me because I have an Aquarius moon, right? Which is always like, I don't want to be needed. So there's a filter that makes it hard for me to separate out just Scorpio, right?
I totally know. I do the same thing with Virgo. What's Virgo and what's Aquarius? Like they seem
right. It's sometimes hard to tell like where one starts and the other ends.
Yes.
You know? But
yes.
Yeah. I know that right now I don't like people.
Tell me more about your Scorpio, Mary. Let me just dig more. I know. They just have so much. And so it really made
me so much. Yeah, no, I loved our little Scorpio rabbit hole because I think it's really complex and it's really magical and it's not easily described in one sitting.
It's only the deepest, darkest water. Does everyone have the deepest, darkest water? I mean, I'm sure there's
Let's just take a snapshot of a lagoon and pretend like that's enough to capture all of the details. You know, it's not like there's stuff under there. There's stuff all around. It's 360.
Right. It's definitely investigative. It definitely likes to dig and it definitely likes to find the raw, right? What's the real?
It wasn't until I was older that I realized like not everybody Facebook stalks. Like I know a lot of us do, don't get me wrong. Right. But like not everybody's really good at it. Not everybody like, you know what I mean? Like it's just a way of life for me. I just poke around. I love to like kind of be nosy and like
that's amazing.
Unnecessary details, right? But like I was in my 20s when I realized like that's not everybody. Right. Like that's
so Jeff has a 10th house Scorpio. So he has to stalk for his work. So he looks at who everybody's doing this in this area. Kaylee has a 6th house Scorpio. She will do it as a day-to-day work thing. If somebody's asking her to, then she will mine. Mine is in my 8th house. I only stalk. And even then I don't stalk. Okay. So I purposefully don't stalk anyone, right? Because when it doesn't occur to me, I am horrible in that. Maybe I'm a narcissist. I may be one of those. But I do stalk charts. So if I have the chart of someone who I like or am close to, that I will stalk on different levels, different fonts, right?
On the reg. Yeah.
All of it every day. I will be like, oh, I wonder what they're going through today. And that's my deepest way to know how they're really, right?
Right. That's like an intimacy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But only those who I care intimately about. If I don't, then I'm like, whatever, I don't care.
But
right?
this is Scorpio, right? Like, is this podcast? Is this interest in two random people that I've never met, but I'm reading about for some
Right.
reason? You know what I mean? Like, my feed is filled with them, and I am one of the many who are curious, right? I'm just
Yes.
like, ooh, and so like I dig deeper,
Yes.
and not enough to be
No.
listening to their podcast,
Horrible.
listening
Yeah,
to
yeah,
his
yeah.
podcast, right? But like enough to where I definitely, when the articles pop up, have to know a little bit more and a little bit more, like
Yes. I know if I have to like when I think of like exes, when I had to sever completely from them, like
mhm.
yeah, like completely because I get too obsessed. Like I have to be like, oh, I need to like fucking distance.
It's hard. You gotta be able to pull yourself out of the abyss. You know what I mean? If you're gonna like
Really hard.
skydiving into it, you gotta make sure you have like room to bring
Yes.
you back.
If I'm obsessing, right, then I am obsessing. And it's one at a time, right? It's that
Right.
one. But like, yeah. My Scorpio does go pretty deep. I will be like, oh, but
A little deeper.
yeah. Well,
Um,
you're not telling me anything. Let me see your chart. That's how I see it.
no, there's more. There's more.
Yes. Okay.
So let us know
Lovely.
if you guys thought of this. There's comment area on here in both
Yeah.
YouTube and the podcast.
If you're
So
an astrologer and you have looked at their charts or you see something in their charts that you're like, oh shit, you didn't even mention that. Say
right,
it. Right. I love that. I
please,
learn more.
yeah,
I love learning. You're right.
let's expand the conversation, right?
Give
Like
me
let's
more. Yeah.
yeah, or if you related to something else, like the Scorpio bits, right? We'd want to hear that too. Not
Yes.
that maybe you'd be likely to spill your guts if you
I don't
did
know.
relate to the Scorpio bits, but maybe you would. I don't know. This is a safe place.
Yeah,
So
it is. Our 11th,
uh
I think, makes it our 11th house composite Scorpio, I think.
we should
Awesome.
do our composite chart on here sometime.
Oh, yeah, we should. Without
But until then,
All right. Adieu. Thank you for being with us today on our, I was going to say vampiric. Like, it's not.
mhm. We started with vampires. Let's end with vampires.
Yes, yes. I think I like the count.
It sounds like the
Yeah.
cookie, like or
Yeah,
the
Cookie Monster, it's the count, right? Which, by the way, the Dracula movie we watched, 1928, his whole ass outfit, that Muppet, is that guy.
that is that. That's real. Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. All right. Bye. Thanks for listening to us. You are amazing. Keep listening. Keep being curious. Keep,
Yeah.
keep looking at
All
you.
those things.
Yeah. All right. Bye.